Time to break down the Alabama roster here at the Voice of College Football. The best way to do it is to bring on Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama. You can also join Stephen on his show Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here on YouTube. In my own words, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 p.m. Central Time. Stephen, how are we doing today?
Doing well, Mark, and yourself?
Doing great. Can't wait for football. Want to hold on to summer at the same time, so we will prepare for August camp. And, of course, SEC Media Days are just a few weeks away. Let's dive into the Alabama offense, starting with the guy that everyone's talking about. That's five-star Bryce Young. We got glimpses of him last season. There are concerns about his height, about his inexperience coming off one of the most prolific offenses in the history of college football in 2020 with Mac Jones leading the way. Your thoughts about Bryce Young as a leader and as a leader of this offense?
Well, Mark, this is the guy everybody's waiting on. This is the guy everybody's excited about. They're overjoyed about. They want to see not only is the magic real, but can he take this team and have Alabama repeat as national champions for the first time since the 2011-2012 season. But also not just that, Bryce Young is trying to become the first-year starting quarterback to win a national championship in the Nick Saban era, joining Greg McElroy, A.J. McCarron, Jacob Coker, and, of course, one Mac Jones. So a lot of excitement brought to the table when you look at Bryce, and we saw all of the awards, the accomplishments, the statistics that he brought to the table coming from the powerhouse modern-day high school in California. So this past spring here, Saban had a lot of great things to say about Bryce in terms of the leadership on the field, the command he has of the offense, the command he has of the huddle, taking charge of the team, different guys on the team, including, running back Brian Robinson talked about, Bryce becoming more of that vocal leader. He's got that Cali swag about himself, so he's kind of that laid-back, cool, calm, collected, chill guy. But he does have moments where he will get in your face, he will get serious, and when he turns that serious vibe on, the players like, whoa, like, we're not used to kind of seeing that side of Bryce, so we got to shift things into gear here. I remember speaking to, a former, walk-on receiver, Joshua McNear, who has recently, committed to Jackson State with Coach Diane Sanders, and Lanier told me about how Bryce has those moments on the field where he knows it's time to get serious, and he flips that switch on, and when he flips that switch on, everybody on the field are like, okay, Bryce got serious, let's get all that together, let's do what we got to do here on the field. So even though he kind of brings that cool, calm demeanor coming from California, he knows when it's time to hit that next gear, turn that serious face on, and have the guys ready to go in the flow of the offense. So having that demeanor about himself, very, very good for a team that's trying to defend its crown as a national champion. We know what he can do as far as the talent he presents on the field, the athleticism, the accuracy, the playmaking ability, but just hearing from different players that he also knows when to be serious, that's huge as well.
Now, of course, Mac Jones was the trigger man for one of the most explosive and efficient offenses in the country and, again, in the history of college football last season. Different skill set here, more mobile, not as tall. Some people have questioned the height factor. So do we expect them to tailor the offense more toward Bryce's mobility, but again, maybe getting him outside the pocket so he doesn't have to look over those offensive linemen all the time?
Absolutely, Mark. I mean, you can see this happening from Bill O'Brien as the first-year offensive coordinator. He will have Bryce rolling out. He will have Bryce on some different boot packages, on some different roll movements to get him on the edge. But at the same time, going back to the spring game, Bryce also had moments where he stood back in that pocket and he was able to read those keys and deliver the ball on time and accurately. Then there were some moments in that spring game where he had pressure all around him, pressure in his face. There were some plays that broke down, and he was still able, and I know they give him 6 feet, but at 5'10", 5'11", he was still able to step up within that pocket and make plays. So there are going to be some situations, some moments throughout the season that Bill O'Brien will roll Bryce out and put him on the edge and trust his playmaking ability out there on the edge. But there will also be some moments where Bill O'Brien will call plays and he will have Bryce sit in that pocket, scan that pocket, move within that pocket and trust your instincts within the pocket to make plays. So there'll be a different schematic. There'll be different strategies that Bill O'Brien will use to have Bryce Young at his best here, whether it's moving within the pocket or putting him on the edge.
Is Paul Tyson definitely the backup, or do you think that still has to be determined?
I think Paul Tyson's definitely the backup. He has been in the system now, since 2019, going on his third year, not just having the size, but he has got a tremendous arm. He's got the ability not only to get the ball there with the velocity, but he's got the accuracy, the touch, the variation of speeds that he puts on the ball. And just going back to the spring game, and I understand people look at Bryce Young's performance a little bit more so than Paul Tyson's, but Paul had a patchwork offensive line in that spring game, and what he was able to do, getting the ball into the hands of Aisha Hong and different guys in the field, Chase McClellan also at running back. Paul made some big plays there in the 8-day game. And talking to people about him, when he first got to Alabama in 2019, this was somebody of whom soaked up everything in the film room. He would be asking questions and answering questions and just putting his mental process to the test when you talk about just being able to process information faster than a lot of other guys in that room. So to me, Paul Tyson definitely as a backup quarterback. Jalen Milroe has a lot of potential. He's got a lot of talent. He is very quick with his athleticism. When Jalen Hurts played in Alabama, Hurts was a more so powerful runner. I think Jalen Milroe is a bit more quick twitch as a runner than even Jalen Hurts was. I think Milroe is a strong thrower. What Alabama's trying to do, though, they want him to become a passer, a pure distributor of the football. Being a thrower of the ball is how strong your arm is, what your arm velocity is, how far, and how quick you get the ball there. But as far as the passing ability, it's how accurate can you be, how precise can you be, how much can you really have that ball to that receiver without that guy truly breaking stride, just being able to get him that ball and have him continue getting up and down the field. So that's the big thing that Bill O'Brien and Nick Saban trying to do with Milroe and catching him up quickly is being able to effectively distribute the ball up and down the field. But he's got tremendous talent as well. I think the backup quarterbacks, due to the size, due to the experience, due to the ability to process that information and take what you've learned and apply it out into the field, I think Paul Tyson's the backup.
Breaking down Bama's offense with Stephen M. Smith of TouchdownAlabama.com. You see his information right there on the banner. Please follow him and the rest of the crew there at Touchdown Alabama. Moving on to a typically crowded running back room. Brian Robinson has been waiting for his turn, but certainly he's been a guy that year after year after year for 4 consecutive years has gotten his share of rushing attempts, typically picking up 300 to 400 yards, had 6 touchdowns last year. But Jace McClellan, Trey Sanders, of course, the 5-star, who unfortunately had that automobile accident coming off his best game of his freshman campaign against Mississippi State with 80 yards rushing, and Roydell Williams. So sort through all those guys with us. Is Brian Robinson going to be in the mode of a Derrick Henry getting just the lion's share of carries, or do you see more of a distribution and a ton of these guys getting into the mix?
I see a distribution here, Mark. And for Brian Robinson, it is right now a push between he and Chase McClellan to be running back one. And as good as B-Rob is, and as talented as he is, and as experienced as he is, he brings much to the table with the size of 6'1", 226 pounds, the power that he has, the ability to pass protect. But in this modern day era of college football and in today's NFL, you have to have those running backs that can do everything well. And it's not just the power, but between the tackles, but it's having that burst, that explosiveness, that speed in the open space. It's having the ability to catch the ball out of the backfield and enhance the passing game, along with being able to pass protect. And with B-Rob, got to get more of that speed and got to become more, acclimated to catching that ball out of the backfield. And both of those two aspects, Chase McClellan really has in spades there. So both of those two are kind of jockeying for that running back one position. When you look at Chase McClellan, speed, burst, ability, athleticism, change directions, can do a whole bunch of things. And he's right now this offseason working with Brad Mester, not only a former Auburn running back, but he's an athletic speed coach over there in Atlanta. He's been putting Jace through a lot of work. And I got a chance to talk to Mester about a month ago, and he worked with Najee Harris. And we saw the dominant year that Harris had in 2020. We're talking to Mester. James McClellan has a bit more burst. He has a bit more of explosive capability than even Najee had. And that's exciting in itself to hear that. Then we can look at Roydell Williams. This spring, he showed you are not going to overlook me. Roydell, in the spring game, totaled 108 yards offensively, including 4 catches for 65 yards. So he's showing you out the backfield the type of receiver he is, coming from Hueytown High School in the Birmingham area. This was a young man, over 5,000 career rushing yards, 5,929 to be exact, 92 total touchdowns, 84 rushing scores. He has a gear to him that you got to put there on the field. And then Trey Sanders, this is somebody that, when he came in 2019, everybody was behind him as a 5-star coming from Florida, playing at IMG Academy. Unfortunately, it's like, can he shake himself loose from the injury bug that has kind of clamped itself to him? Whether it was, his freshman year in fall camp where he had the foot injury and he missed the entire season, or whether it was, as you mentioned, Mark, the car accident he was involved in, coming off the great game he had against Mississippi State, a season ago. Can he find a way to shake himself loose from the injury thing and be that running back that Alabama fans know that he can be? And then not to mention, you got a Kamar Wheaton in here now, the 5-star out of Texas, and people are talking about, this guy could possibly be the best back that Saban's brought in here. You got a loaded room here with 5 guys here at your disposal. So at the top of the chain there, B-Rob and McClellan kind of jockeying there for position. But I think, Nick Saban typically rotates 3 backs. The question becomes, Mark, who's number 3? When you look at Roydell Williams, Trey Sanders, and Kamar Wheaton, who becomes the 3rd back in this rotation will answer a lot of questions.
And not lost in your number of points there, Stephen, is again the pass catching ability and what they need out of that running back position, considering that Najee Harris developed into an elite pass catcher, 43 catches, 4 touchdowns, and really made a difference in the passing game against the better defenses that Alabama faced the last couple seasons. We got Stephen M. Smith on the line from Touchdown Alabama to break down the Tide. We're running through the offense, and we move it on to what has been the best group of wide receivers in the country for several years now, and of course 4 first-round selections in the last 2 NFL drafts, and maybe, I don't think this is hyperbole, maybe the greatest player in the history of whether it's at that position of wide receiver, the Alabama program, or the history of college football. He could be in the discussion, going from national championship game-winning catch in 2017 to the development all the way to one of the most prolific seasons in college football, of course, with Devontae Smith. And we're running through this offense that boasted 3 Heisman finalists out of 5. So John Mechie, of course, is the guy that everybody points to, 55 catches. He has the most experience. Slade Bolden with some key receptions down the stretch as well. And Jameson Williams comes in from Ohio State. So they're not lacking in talent, but the experience is lacking a bit.
This This group right here, to me, Mark, is solid. It's solid, not special. Because and solid is good. You can win with solid. You can be successful with solid. When you talk about the guys that Alabama launched the NFL, you're looking at 4 trump cards at wide receiver. You're looking at 4 number ones. When you talk what Jerry Jeudy did, what Henry Ruggs did, what Devontae Smith did, what Jalen Waddle did. Now, John mentioned, you mentioned he's got experience. Slade Bolden is trying to go from being kind of a gadget player to being a contributor, a marquee wide receiver. I really like Jameson Williams from Ohio State. He has come in here and he has torn up in 7-on-7. The players really like him. The coaching staff really likes him. He's got speed. He's got athleticism. He's got burst. He's got routes. He's got hands. And he's coming to. I've been told, barring injury or anything crazy happening, this young man should start because he is bringing it right now. In 7-on-7 at 6'2" and 189 pounds. Williams, played 22 career games at Ohio State, 15 catches, 266 yards, 3 touchdowns. Of course, last year, 9 catches, $154, and 2 scores, including the 45-yard touchdown catch he got from Justin Fields against Clemson. Ohio State get the 49-28 win over the Tigers in the CFP semifinal down there at the Sugar Bowl. So Williams has a lot of talent. He's got a lot of ability. I think he starts there along with Bolden and along with Mechie. But some other guys here, you've got Xavier Williams, who's been in this program for a long time. Came in 2018, young man from Florida, South Florida. I mean, he's got ability at 6'1", 6'2", but can Ziggy Williams finally get a way to get himself on the field consistently? We saw last year coming down the stretch, the young man, he got some playing time. In the spring game, didn't really pop the way I really wanted him to or would have liked for him to. So can Ziggy Williams, Xavier Williams, find himself on the field in some kind of way, shape, form, or fashion? That's a big question. Then you got the guys that came in the 2020 class with Siobhan Banker and Trey Holden and Thayou Jones-Bell. Trey Holden had a really good spring game. He and Bryce Young are roommates. Holding 9 catches for 89 yards. He's had a good summer thus far. Can he find a way to get on the field at 6'3"? Siobhan Banker's been talking a bunch since he got here. The young man at 6'1", a little bit over 200 pounds now. But can he go from talking the game to getting on the field and producing? That's the next step for him. Thayou Jones-Bell from South Florida. I remember watching him in an Under Armour All-America practice. That kid's got talent out the world. But can he get on the field? And then you got these freshmen in here, Mark, when you talk Aisha Hall, who had an incredible spring game, 4 catches for 72 yards, and had fans seeing visions of Julio Jones out there. So you got Aisha Hall, who's trying to get on the field. You got Christian Leary, another South Florida product. You got JoJo Earl, who flipped from LSU to Alabama in the early signing period. He's here this summer. He's making some noise in 7-on-7. So like you mentioned, the talent there. But talent's there. It's who's ready to pop now when you look at trying to help Mechie, trying to help Bolden, trying to help Jameson Williams. Who's ready to pop now out of this next wave of group, this next group here? And wide receiver going to be very interesting.
Major Tennyson's been in the program for a long time. He's coming up on his senior season. And, of course, Jaleel Billingsley was the guy that we saw at tight end backing up and getting some playing time last season. So set us up at tight end.
Well, tight end right here, Jaleel Billingsley is expected to have a monster season. We know what Bill O'Brien does, the tight end position. We saw it at Penn State. We saw it with the New England Patriots, with them having Rob Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez. We saw it with the Houston Texans. So we know when Bill O'Brien gets his hands on tight ends, those guys produce. When you look at Jaleel, he's entering his junior year. This is the money NFL year for him, and he knows this, trying to become stronger even as a blocker at that spot as a pass catch. This young man is an electric guy. Last season, 18 catches, 287 yards, had 3 touchdowns a season ago. But along with him, you've got Cameron Latu, and this has become a star in the making right here. This young man came in as a linebacker in the 2018 class. He has morphed into a tight end. He has morphed into a physical specimen at 6'5", 250 pounds. He had an incredible spring. He had a really good spring game. And this is the guy everybody's buzzed about, they're talking about, that can be a star, that can be a potential NFL big-time player at that tight end position. What I look for Alabama to do here, Mark, is they're going to try to split Jamil Billingsley out wide, make him a tight end wide receiver hybrid, kind of like what Florida did with Kyle Pitts, and then they'll have Cameron Latu working that in line as a blocker. But he'll also get out there, catch some passes. He'll be deadly in the red area as well. Now, Major Tennyson, who's been here for a while, I can see him in kind of that H-back role where he will block for the running backs. He'll also slip out there, and he'll catch a pass or two also. So I think Major Tennyson as the H-back, they'll split Jamil Billingsley out wide there, and they'll have Cameron Latu as that inline tight end.
We break down the Bama offense courtesy Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama. Please join him on his Monday, Wednesday, and Friday show right here on YouTube. In my own words, that's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 6 p.m. Central. Give him a call. Talk Tide football. All right. Always love to get your offensive line breakdown, Stephen. And, of course, Alex Leatherwood is a huge loss. Chris Owens showed us a lot down the stretch and filling in for Landon Dickerson at center. And I am hearing more about Evan Neal than just about any offensive lineman in the country, about him being a dominant player up front.
It's tough when you lose 3 guys in Dickerson, Leatherwood, and Deontay Brown. I mean, the chemistry, the camaraderie that those 3 brought to the 2020 offensive line, it's tangible. You cannot replace that because of what they meant to the team and to the program. But you do have 3 guys back who are experienced. Chris Owens, who's played everywhere on this line, from center to offensive tackle to offensive guard. He's even played some at tight ends. He knows this offensive line backwards, forward, sideways, like what he brings there at the center position. Emil Ekiyor, who kind of gets forgotten at times, he got better game by game last year at the right guard spot. So he's back with a lot of experience under his belt. And, of course, Evan Neal, who will flip from right tackle to left tackle, just a dominant, imposing figure there at 6'7", 360 pounds. He will be a top 5, top 10. He will be a first-round pick in the 2022 venue. So the question becomes, who are the other 2 guys for that offensive line? You look at potentially left guard, filling in for Deontay Brown, and the right tackle. And Bama's got a lot of guys to pick from here. You got Tommy Brown, who's coming back for his redshirt junior year at 6'7", 320 pounds. Now, he started at guard throughout the spring. He has the size of a tackle, but I think he's better suited as a guard. So he's in there. He'll be competing against Pierce Quick, who can be a guard or tackle, physical, nasty dude. In 2019, he came in from Hewitt-Trussville High School here in Alabama. Excited to see what Pierce Quick can do out there on the field. Then you've got guys like Javion Cohen and Damian George, guys who have the size to be tackles but can play guard, can move on the inside in that phone booth. Now keep your eyes on those 2 guys. Then you have a Kendall Randolph who can play tackle. He's got a ton of experience. This is his 5th year as he came in the 2017 class. He can play either tackle or tight end. And then you got 2 true freshmen at the program very high on when you talk J.C. Latham and Tommy Brockemeyer. Big guys right here. Both guys can play tackle and were brought in to play tackle, but they can also play guard as well. It's which one is the most ready to get the job done right now. And then also you got a Dorian Downcourt who can play either guard, but he can play center. He's a natural center. He's a naturally gifted center. Watching him, he's kind of got the nastiness of a Dickerson, but he's got the full-on skill set of an Antoine Caldwell. So this is going to be very interesting to see here, Mark. Who will be the other two guys that will join Owens, Neal, and Ekiyor to make up the five guys on that unit as Alabama trying to repeat and defend the crown of the Joe Moore Award?